All right, you rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Join me in a moment of silent prayer. Thank you. And if I start coughing, I apologize too, because I'm trying to get rid of a chest cold, so.
We're all going to be sick tomorrow.
All right, we will call this meeting to order, and I will entertain a motion to amend the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move to amend the agenda to add the following item. Consider awarding the RFP for elevator upgrade and repairs to Port Elevator Inc., the lowest responsible bidder, with a bid of $100,727.
And the reason we're doing this is we didn't receive the notice to accept the bid until this morning, so the elevator is in desperate need of being repaired, because last thing we want to do is have people stuck in it. So,
And that's in the 2025 budget. It was already budgeted for to do this repair. Okay.
Just to verify, it's in bad enough shape that you're worried that by next month, if you don't do it now, that
yeah, it could.
it's going
Yes,
to be...
we've
Thank
had.
you. Yep.
Yes.
So,
All right.
I made the
So
motion.
you made the motion. Are you, Doug? All right. We have a motion and a second to amend the agenda. Any comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Now we'll ask for any public comment on this agenda item, if there is any.
I'm a bit disappointed that you guys didn't release the budget yesterday with your agenda. Nobody really can comment on it without having seen it. So it would have been very useful to have released that so people could comment on it. It makes it look like you're trying to hide something. That's the big thing. Thank you.
All right. Now I will entertain a motion to approve the added agenda item, the elevator bid of $100,727 to Port Elevator Inc.
So moved.
We have a motion, a second. I don't mean to laugh because I'm not far behind that. So anyway, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, now visitors' remarks concerning the rest of the agenda. All right, hearing none, unfinished business. Consider approving the minutes of October 28, 2025.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Consider new business. Consider approving an agreement between Bradford County and Train US Incorporated for professional services for Bradford County facilities at a fee of $12,000.
So moved.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
Michelle, my understanding is this $12,000 is related to a review of humidity issue over to the sheriff's office and the DRO office, and so that's what this is towards.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Consider authorizing the chief clerk to legally advertise that the 2026 county budget will be available for public review for 20 days, effective November 13th, 2025, and action to approve the budgets will be taken on December 11, 2025.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I just want to share a little bit on this. This has probably been one of the most difficult budgets that this county has experienced in a long time, and certainly in my tenure here for the last 14 years, for a lot of reasons. Primarily, I mean, costs, like anything else, costs continue to go up. Our costs, one of the biggest expenses we have, obviously, is labor costs, our employees who do a phenomenal job. And we want to attract the best and brightest to serve the public, but also the cost of doing business, just the normal costs of human services, courts and corrections, all those costs continue to go up. And in the number of years that I've been here, we have managed to not have to pass on tax increases to cover those costs. If you take the just cost of living increases in the last 15 years, have amounted to about 37-38% over that number of years. We have not had to pass those costs off in the form of tax increases all those years. Unfortunately, this year is a year that we're going to have to increase taxes slightly to cover the increased costs. And it's being driven in large part because of the last 4 months of not having a state budget and a federal budget, which for a county amounts to about 60% of its budget comes in the form of pass-through funds for our human services and a number of other things within our budget, that about 60 to 70% is in the form of pass-through funds. So we are increasing taxes by $1.6 million, 1.625, I believe. And again, to me, I pushed back against it. I don't like passing along taxes, but unfortunately in today's world, you have to cover your costs. And like any business, you have two choices. You either reduce costs or you increase revenue. And our departments have done a phenomenal job of keeping the lid on costs for all these years and continue to do so. And I will say that our fiscal department has done a phenomenal job of managing the county's resources, which are everybody's tax dollars. But this is the year that we're just going to have to raise taxes slightly to cover the increased expenses that we're all incurring. And so...
Yeah, and I'll just add, so just so everybody's clear, we are not voting on the budget today.
Right.
Okay? This is a proposal, and mechanically the way it works is this. We get information from our department heads and the organizations that receive funding from us. We take that information, the fiscal director crunches the numbers, they make a proposal, what you would call kind of a best guess. That proposal could be modified based on addition or information you get right up until the time of today's meeting. And so there's not a lack of transparency. This is literally how it gets done in counties around the Commonwealth, and certainly in our county, is we have to vote to advertise, and meaning put out for people to publicly inspect whatever that budget proposal is. We do that. And today, hopefully, there will be a vote to put out this budget proposal. Once that goes out, there's an opportunity for the public to review it. We then take that up in our December meeting, on December 11th, I believe. At that meeting, and in between there and then and now, there may be a determination that amendments need to be made. And certainly, once the individuals in the public have an opportunity to review it, certainly they have every right to bring concerns or things that they like about it to the attention of the commissioners, and it's our obligation to then take those into consideration. So, as to the 1.625 millage increase that is proposed, remember we're at 10.43. We've been at 10.43 since 2009. 2009. So here we are. I raised at the meeting last year my concerns about not having an incremental tax increase. But here we are. And, this will be, I'm sure, a subject of great public debate, as it should be. It should be a subject of input, and we as commissioners will have discussion at a public meeting like this on December 11th as to, where does this fit? Because it's not just about the millage, it's also about, obviously, how we're choosing to allocate our money. But I do share Commissioner Miller's appreciation for the hard work of our department heads and the hard work of the organizations that receive funds from us and the hard work of our fiscal director and his staff to try to arrive at a best guess to at least get something on the table for us to discuss. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I don't know, has there been a motion, or do you need a motion?
No, there's no motion.
All right. So unless Doug has something else to add, I'm willing to make the motion.
Very hard.
Barely.
It's very, very difficult, Doug.
The 2009 increase was about 300,000. I didn't vote for it. It really wasn't needed. We have not needed a tax increase since 2000. So we've held the line incredibly all these for 2 decades. And it's all the uncontrollables that have caused this. They have had some cuts to the budget that we found. And I can't even, person medicals were but when I have better voice, maybe I can discuss on the 11th.
So I'm advised by our chief clerk that there was a motion and there was a second.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
I'd like to point out Sunshine Act. Commissioner, please don't interrupt me. I'd like
It's
to
not
point
public
out,
comment time right now.
this is a Sunshine Act violation complaint. Your lawyers have told you have to allow that. I have a complaint that you guys have been discussing in private, the budget, instead of doing it in public, and that you came to this budget through discussion. Thank you.
All right, consider approving the appointment of Jessica Pepper to the Bradford County Drug and Alcohol Planning Council for a term of 3 years effective November 4th, 2025 to November 4th, 2028.
So moved.
So, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Consider approving the agreement between Bradford County Children and Youth Services and Presley Ridge for professional services effective from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026 inclusive.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Consider approving a letter of support for Endless Mountains Mission Center application for fair tax grant for the 2026-27 year for the following, and following per the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
And my understanding is we've done this in previous years for individuals who are seeking tax grants, so it's not a partisan issue, it's just, this is what we do. Okay.
Right. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Consider approving a letter of support for Troy Township's application for a local share grant for assistance in purchasing a dump truck for municipality infrastructure projects.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Consider approving a letter of support for Burlington Township's application for a local share grant for assistance in purchasing a soil compactor for municipality infrastructure projects.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Consider approving a letter of support for Burlington Township's application for a local share grant for assistance in constructing a mixed-use building to serve as a municipal office, an emergency command center, and a community center.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Consider approving the renewal of the following solicitor agreements per the agenda for the 2026 fiscal year.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Consider approving the hires and transfers from Christopher Drees down through and including Keith Stackhouse.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Other business. Allison Larson has been appointed in response to a court order by the Court of Common Pleas to the position of Court Administrative Clerk 3 Fiscal Tech for the Court of Common Pleas effective November 3rd, 2025. And Emily Benniger has been appointed in response to a court order by the Court of Common Pleas from DRO Enforcement Officer to DRO Establishment Officer effective November 30th, 2025. And now we'll hear from Henry Farley, a report on the America 250 process. Progress.
Well, whether we like it or not, it's here.
Getting close.
Real close. A few weeks from tomorrow is the kickoff. This Air Christmas Parade is going to be our kickoff for 2026. That's a parade that draws 8,000 people, so we thought it was the ideal time to kick off our year. Cassandra Coleman will be here for the kickoff parade from Pennsylvania 250. We have a float set up for the parade, and we have several people that are going to depict different eras of history. John Sullivan, coal mining, railroading, that'll be on the float as well. It'll be a patriotic float. Right now there are 40 floats signed up for the parade. There'll be more than that, so it'll be a pretty big parade. December 5th, we have a big deal going on here. We're going to unveil the Liberty Bell in the courthouse, and every county is supposed to have a Liberty Bell in the Commonwealth. We struggled to get an artist in Bradford County to do it. We did not want to have an artist from out of our county. And finally, Shauna Case from Wyalusing School stepped up, and her design was selected. So on December 5th at 2:45, we'll be unveiling the Liberty Bell here in the courthouse, right outside here in the hallway. And it'll be a nice event. Everybody's encouraged to come to that, and there'll be press that'll go out about that beforehand. We'd also like to place the easels and the photo boards in the courthouse early in January, and hopefully have the bunting and stuff up for the year because of the kickoff of Pennsylvania 250 here on the 20th of January. Again, that's another event that everybody's going to be invited to from 12:15 to 2 o'clock. Their team will come. They're bringing all the hoopla that goes with that, and that's their kickoff for our county. So in the first 2 weeks of January, Pennsylvania 250 is going to hit every county in the Commonwealth, so they'll be here on that day. The Bradford County team continues to work planning our events for 2026. Depending on the results of the room tax grant, we will have rack cards that list our events, and they'll be available at the January 20th event. We will have events around the Sullivan's March video and the historic marker guide the first few months of 2026. On Memorial Day, or on or about, we're going to dedicate a new marker at the courthouse. The Revolutionary War patriots that lived in Bradford County have never been recognized. We have plaques for every other war here except that. Cindy Holdridge from SARE, who's a retired nurse and a big shot in the DAR, has worked unbelievably long collecting the names and bios of all these people. And I've sat with her for about 15 hours so that we could verify these people. And we have about 300 that will be on this board that we're going to erect in the courthouse to commemorate those folks. And long time coming. Cindy says there's a couple missing, but whoever does this in 50 years can do it. Carry forward. Peggy Kramer, you guys may remember Peggy from the tree hab. She's donated a second quilt to us, and it's a barn quilt. It's Bradford County Barn Squares, and it's got a legend on the back of it of whose barn it recommends, and that's another thing that we're going to raffle off. That'll be taken across the county to events throughout the year. But it's a really, if you haven't seen Peggy's work, it's pretty good stuff. That'll be something people will enjoy. And Bradford County Library, children's librarians are going to do the reading program for us. They already go to the schools, so we figured rather than try to set up events at all the schools, we'll have them go in with the ABCs of Pennsylvania history, but we're also going to take that book to the long-term care facilities. They get left out of everything, and I think that people in long-term care would enjoy that book as much as kids in school do. So we're going to do an initiative to carry that throughout the county as well. Francis Island is going to be hosting a reenactment of Hartley's expedition in August. That's going to be another really big event, and they're hoping to bring bus tours in for that. They're also going to do a river paddle involved with that. We continue to work on all of our initiatives for the year, and there are a lot. There is going to be a county choir and a band, and there are a lot of other events that are going to take place. And as we get the schedule put together, we will make an announcement of everything that's going to happen during the year. But all the museums are participating and the organizations, and we have about 25 people in our committee that are working pretty hard to make this happen. So we're pretty proud of what we've done so far.
And we thank you and everybody else that's involved in it. This is a huge undertaking, and it's a huge event. I mean, America 250.
It is a huge.
It's semi-quincentennial for those that really. However, it is America 250. That's what everybody remembers.
That's right.
Quick question.
It's not about semi-quincentennial.
To whom may individuals make donations?
They can make them to Bradford County Historical Society for America 250.
So the checks could be made payable to Bradford County Historical Society. In the memo line put
America 250.
Or semi-quincentennial. And
so you can spell it.
And then and that could go to them. Okay, so just for the public's benefit, if they want to donate to the cause, it would be my understanding you're still accepting donations.
We sure are. Every little bit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. All right, Lacey Marriott, Central Bradford County Chamber of Commerce, Hometown Christmas.
I have to go all the way up there.
You can stand wherever you want.
Okay. So we're really excited with how the Hometown Christmas is coming along. After you come on December 5th for the dedication of the bell, stay in town. We'll be doing our Christmas tree lighting that night, and then the rest of the festivities will continue on Saturday. We're hoping for some county help getting the Christmas tree put up that week. The borough is going to be here helping us put up our 17-foot tall, 12-foot wide Christmas tree. We may need the county's cherry picker and some guys to stabilize it while we stake a 17-foot tree. Also that week we will be doing the decorating, hypothetically Wednesday. I wanted to invite county employees and the community to come help us with the tree decorating. We really want the tree to feel like it belongs to the whole community. And the donation of the tree from Ed and Jill at White Barn Farms out in Rome, when we called and asked to buy a tree, he said, nope, I've been growing this one for years. I've been waiting for the right time for the community to enjoy it, and this is that time. So we think it's really going to be a spectacular tree lighting ceremony this year, and Justin, our new executive director, has been working tirelessly to put out a schedule, which we will be publishing today, of everything from Friday night right through Saturday evening and the parade, for which we don't have 40 floats yet. So if anybody wants to put in floats, please contact Justin as well. But we are making really good progress on the parade as well. So we're excited for all of that, but definitely wanted to touch base with somebody after the fact about, like I said, some county resources to get that tree up, and then inviting the employees to come out on their breaks when we're decorating and help us out that day.
Thank you.
Cheer. Thank you for giving us the time.
Thank you. All right, now we'll recognize, and we'll ask Vonda to recognize Emily Benninger, Domestic Relations Officer, for receiving the Mary Kunkel Award of Excellence for 2025.
Yes. So Emily's right here. She's our enforcement officer. She's been with us for 5 years. She came over from Potter County, And every year, our draft association, we have a state draft association, and this year was in Gettysburg. And you put in for your class size, and Mary Kunkel was a director in Carbon County. And she was a very special lady, and she passed with cancer several years ago. And so they have an award. And Emily's a hard worker, very dedicated, like the rest of my staff. And I put her in, and she won. She's this year's recipient. So I'm very proud of that. And actually, this is the 4th year in a row that Bradford County has won that award. So.
Well, thank you very
Well,
much,
thank you.
Emily.
Thank you very much.
And to the entire Domestic Relations Office, it sounds like you're doing something right if you're winning these awards year over year. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Michelle, Gwen wanted to talk about suicide prevention.
She can do it at the end, but she didn't get a chance for some.
Okay, that's fine. All right, and now we will do a recognition of citizens Gavin Brislin, Wes Bird, and Jesse Karen for heroic actions taken to ensure the success of a vehicle rescue that occurred on October 11, 2025. Now, it's sold up a couple of pictures, so Chief Yonkin, if you wouldn't mind elaborating a little bit on why we're recognizing these people.
Certainly. Thank you, Commissioners, for allowing me to be here today. My name is John Yunkin. I'm the Fire Chief in Dewshore. On the evening of October 11th, my heavy rescue and my EMS crew, along with the Mildred Fire Department, came to the assistance of the New Albany Fire Department for a major traffic accident along Route 220 just north of New Albany. I arrived about 15 minutes after the accident. Our guys had started working on the accident. I was surprised to find not two-car MVA, a head-on MVA. I found a 80,000-pound water truck upside down on a Jersey barrier. The Jersey barrier is concrete, about this high, about 4 feet high. The truck was not stable, which means it could rock if you moved it. So the crews immediately stabilized it. And our crews train regularly over the years of heavy rescue using a heavy rotator wrecker. And I called for a heavy rotator, knowing it would take a while to get there. What I didn't know was the driver was trapped in the cab, upside down, and his arm was trapped above his head. We couldn't see where his arm was. And it took us about 30 or 40 minutes, and my guys told me the truck is on his arm on the Jersey barrier. So we had to lift the truck. And we started to do that with our rams. With our rams, we had to go about a 1/4 of an inch at a time, very slowly. He didn't have a lot of time. He was hurt very badly. And about that time, the Furman rotator gentleman showed up. And I've been doing this a long time. And these guys, I don't think had ever done this. And they took my direction very clearly, very concisely. And we hooked up, they hooked up very quickly. And they lifted that truck so slowly and so carefully that it didn't move other than vertically. And we only had to lift that several inches to get that gentleman out. And he was taken to SARE. He just was released. He's still alive. I can tell you from my experience, in doing this for a long time, that they saved his life because he was running out of time. I don't think we would have gotten him out, but I don't think he would have still been alive. So I wanted to thank them. I asked the Bradford County Commissioners to thank them. It's not often that civilians get to say that they saved a life, and you gentlemen did that. And from my department, we wanted to thank you also. You did great work. Great
Amazing.
work.
And I want to say thank you, Chief. And on behalf of Bradford County, we too want to thank you very much. I mean, it is unusual that you're put in a position like that, but to be put in a position like that and do the work that you did, that gentleman can thank you for literally saving his life, and his family can thank you for doing that. That's a very, very, very challenging operation to pull off and pull it off successfully. So thank you very much. We've got certificates for you. We'll take a picture when we get done with the meeting and stuff.
Just thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Salary Board. There's no unfinished business. New business. We will set that. We don't have Matt. Matt's not here. We will set the salaries and grades from Christopher Dries down through and including Emily Benninger.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion to second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Moving on, Assessment Board. There is no unfinished business. New business. Consider approving the following for tax exemptions, and they are all new except one renewal. Jason Wakely, Gregory Mack, Raymond Jones, and Lewis Adams.
And
Kenneth Farmer. Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the tax exemptions for Wakely, Mack, Jones, Adams, and Farmer as set forth in the agenda.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, visitors' remarks. We've got John Yunkin, Hugh Austin.
Yeah, I want to point out that here we are at the end of another budget proposal. I would note that there were clearly deliberations in secret that kept the public from knowing what was going on, because one board in particular had to vote on a take it or leave it proposal from the commissioners. That's it.
All right, thank you. Hugh Austin.
Yeah.
Well, you already, sorry. Walter Woods.
Yeah. Same thing. You guys talked behind closed doors to make this budget. You had to. In that same meeting, you talked about how there was going to be a tax increase. Who brought forward that tax increase? Whose decision was that? Who worked on this budget at this point?
It's a collaboration of a lot of people's efforts.
Including the three commissioners? Or no?
Independently, we talked to the departments, we talked to the fiscal director.
And
Just a minute.
Well, I'm just pausing everything, so who's got the floor now? Okay.
Chris Furman wants.
Well, maybe he can speak after
Okay.
Mr. Woods. Okay. The floor is yours, Mr. Woods.
is it,
Chris, if you can just pause, Mr. Woods is in the middle of his... Chris, we can barely hear you, but Mr. Woods is in the middle of his public comments, so if we can just let him continue.
Finish the comments.
Okay. All right, pause, okay. All right, Mr. Woods, the floor is yours, go ahead.
so I think you're lying to us saying that you independently worked with the employees. But even if you had done that, the only way that would work and you not be deliberating is if you worked on separate sections on your own and didn't communicate your opinions to the other commissioners through either an intermediary or directly. Because if you're doing that, if you're using an intermediary, you're just trying to cheat the system. And it doesn't work that way. That's why you're supposed to have public meetings before you even have your budget proposal done, so that you can get information and speak among each other about how to put that budget together. Because it just doesn't work the way you're saying it works. You're lying to the public saying that you independently did everything, that no opinions were shared between each other, because that's what deliberations is sharing your opinions on the budget. And you're lying to the public that that never happened. And is he trying to?
No, keep going.
And is he? I don't know what's happening right now. I don't know if McLinko's trying to speak over me or
no. Keep.
No.
It's deliberations. You guys know it is, and it needs to stop. You need to start doing things in public. You're talking about making
All right,
changes
thank
to
you.
the
Time's up.
Sure.
All right. Chris Furman? No, we can't.
Where's the audio coming from for him?
I don't know.
Could he maybe call in so that?
Let me see if I can.
Okay, we're working on some technical issues here, Chris.
No, we can't hear you, Chris.
Let me call here.
Okay, we're gonna try to call you, Chris. Michelle's gonna try to call you so that then you'll be audible. We can hear you once she calls you. So maybe mute your line on your Zoom so that she can hear, or we can all hear.
Yes.
So earlier in the meeting, Mr. Woods made an objection based on the sunshine law, which is his right. I was going to comment later that the solicitor's office is aware of the meetings. There are no sunshine violations, and I was going to explain that there wasn't going to be any further follow-up or investigation. And Mr. Woods, to address your comments, in particular, meetings and discussions fall directly within Supreme Court precedent. I've been doing solicitor work for more than 20 years now. And I assure you, and I assure everybody in attendance, that the commissioners are not committing Sunshine Act violations. I don't know where you are reading or getting an understanding of what deliberations mean, but I also assure you that your Google search does not equal a law degree. And there is what is occurring falls directly under the Pennsylvania Supreme Court precedent as what is allowed that does not constitute deliberations. The violation of the Sunshine Act. I mention this because I normally wouldn't, it's just public comment, but we're not going to be investigating these any further.
Who's not? Who's this? I know it's Christopher something, but who's just spoken?
Part of our solicitor's office.
Is that?
Yes, we hear you, Chris.
Yep, we hear you, Chris.
Not really. Yeah, even I was having a little bit of a hard time hearing him. So your solicitors are saying that you're doing everything correctly and that they're not going to investigate whether or not you're doing anything incorrectly, correct? Is that the gist of what he was trying to say?
That is what Mr. Furman indicated, and what Mr. Furman was saying is that it falls within Supreme Court precedent interpreting the Sunshine Act, and that...
Which Supreme Court precedent?
Do you want to say the Supreme Court precedent, Chris?
Smith versus Township of Richmond, 623 PA 209, 2013.
And
Thank
so the conversation about $17,000 to the system
around this issue. It's not just that case, but that is the preeminent case that's cited by everybody. There's been plenty of case law since interpreting that.
Could you describe for the public what deliberations means?
No, I'm not your attorney, and I'm not going to give legal advice. I give legal advice to the board, and I'm telling you that...
Would the board ask him to describe what deliberations means?
Doing municipal law. Are you going to talk over me, or are you going to listen?
I'm sorry, it's hard to hear you. I wasn't sure if you were... The board could ask.
Chris, go ahead. So I think, Chris, your point is, if I understand it, is that the description or the definition of deliberations is set forth in the Township of Richmond case that you just cited?
Well, look, I don't want to get involved in a legal argument or a discussion. The Township of Richmond case was the Supreme Court case that came down in 2013 that first analyzed, or not first, but one of the early cases discussing what constituted deliberation. There have been plenty of cases in the Commonwealth Court since then that discuss it. I'm telling Mr. Woods that what he is accusing the board of as being a Sunshine Act violation is not a Sunshine Act violation. In his earlier objection, which is what I wanted to respond to, he does have a right to make that objection, but in this case, I'm aware of what's going on, and we are not going to investigate that objection any further. I consider it closed.
All right.
If you investigate it, do you think the commissioners would fire you?
What? I'm not.
No, don't worry about it.
Hang on just a second, Doug.
So nobody wants to define what deliberations means, right?
Sorry, Doug, you had something to say?
Well, I want to say that in this tough budget year, and last year, we probably spent upwards of $50,000 to towards $100,000 chasing rabbits all around when we've never been cited for anything. Chris, have we ever been found breaking the law at all in these accusations?
So Chris, I know it's hard to hear. So Commissioner McClinko's question was whether there has been any finding of breaking the law by the commissioners on the basis of the accusations that have been made, and that was the question.
No, there's not. And in fact, the accusations, as far as I know, have all been made on conjecture and hearsay, which is not evidence admissible in court. And we're not going to have an argument here, a discussion over what constitutes deliberation under the case law. There's been plenty of cases, plenty of case law. And my advice to the board is you are following the law and you are not committing Sunshine Act violations. Period. I'm not going to engage in a back and forth or a debate about what constitutes deliberation with Mr. Woods.
Are you saying hearsay is never accepted in a court of law?
All right.
I think the comments are over. You've made your comments and I've responded. We're not taking this any further.
All right, thank you, Chris. Doug?
How much of all the time and money that we spent on this craziness, all these accusations that are unfounded in a tough budget year? You can thank Mr. Woods for helping with tax increase. Thank you. Because we're probably 50,000 and above. And that doesn't include wasting our chief clerk's time. And you know what? If we ever thought that we did something wrong, we would call Chris and we'd correct him. With all this nonsense, all these conspiracy theories. Enough is enough. Thank you, Gerald.
All right, thank you. All right, before we move on any further, Gwen, did you want to talk about suicide prevention?
Hi, everybody. My name is Gwen Saxberry, and I am the chair of the Bradford County Suicide Task Force. And I come here as somebody who is a loss survivor. And what that means is somebody that has been personally impacted by suicide. I'm here to acknowledge and speak on behalf of the people who are still struggling silently and for those who love them. With the holiday season coming up, it's a tough time for individuals that have lost somebody to suicide. For myself, I lost both of my parents when I was 10. My father took his own life and took my mother's. And that was in September of 1989. So that first Christmas that I spent with a different family with no support, it was definitely something that I can remember. You know, I can remember how it felt to be in a house of strangers, you know, and just, it kind of chokes me up to think about it right now. It's real, it's in our community, you know, and I encourage everybody to reach out, you know, to your neighbors, to your coworkers, to friends and family, you know, if they seem to be isolated, they seem to be a little off, you know, and don't try to go in there and cure their pain, you know, just listen, be a shoulder, you know, and point them in the line for some resources, which I do have with me if anybody's interested. I have some flyers that have all of the county resources that we have available for somebody to be able to reach out if they're feeling down and out, if they have suicidal ideations. You know, and remember that not everybody celebrates the holidays the same, especially if you've lost somebody. You know, not everybody's gonna be merry and joyous, you know, and so avoid, you know, pressuring them to be merry, you know. Have a gentle approach. You know, some may be carrying your grief and anxiety or depression. You know, and you gotta make space for that too. You gotta allow those people to feel their feelings. The 98 Suicide Crisis Lifeline, it's available 24/7. But we also do have other resources. We have, the main link has the One Line, 365 days a year. It's open from 6 to 11. I have that in this pamphlet. There's also local pastors. There's local outreach, the Concern Crisis Hotline. Also, we are, the Bradford Sullivan County Suicide Task Force, me and Father Dan, have come together to, we're having an event on December 21st from 1 to 4 at the main link called Hope Shines Through. It's going to be a holiday luncheon for lost survivors, family, and friends. It's going to be a gathering of comfort and support during the holiday. Everybody's welcome. It's going to be food, fellowship, and remembrance. There will be activities, keepsake crafts, mementos. We're going to have some live music. Thanks, Lacey. But it's going to be, you know, I just want people to come together. We're going to have a roundtable discussion. I want to see what the community, the lost survivors, what do they want to see in our community? Tell me what you would like to see. Because I'm that person who has felt this loss and has grieved. I want to be that person to go out and get the education or whatever I need to do to bring that to our community. So, and just to end with a message of hope, even in the darkest seasons, light still shines. Together we can make sure no one faces that darkness alone.
Thank you.
Very important message, Glenn. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, if I may have a moment.
Yeah.
I want to give an update on the status of the electricity issues at the electrical issues at the Bradford County Library. So this would have been, I think it was 2 weeks ago that it went down. If you recall, that stands out in my mind because I believe it was the next day that we had to close the courthouse for broader issues. But after it became clear that there was a problem, so Penelec instructed us that according to Penelec, it was not Penelec's responsibility to fix the problem. It was the county's because it was on county property. That was the understanding that was given to us. So we worked to get Mountain Lake Electric in there. Mountain Lake Electric, obviously, sometimes it takes time to diagnose the problem, get the parts you need, etc. That was completed by Mountain Lake Electric, I believe it was last Friday. And then Penelec had to come in because then they indicated that there was also, in addition to the problems at the site, there was a need for a new transformer. So I just want to let the public know that on this morning, as I was driving in, I stopped. Penelec was there with the transformers, and it's my understanding that as we speak, those transformers are being installed. There was a hope to have that done by noon of today, so that then Mountain Lake Electric is also, my understanding, also going to be on site to make sure that the phasing is correct for that transformer connection into the building. And I guess knock on wood, hopefully be in a position to have electricity back to the site by this afternoon. I will say, speaking independently, my observation has been that at every step of the way, the county and Mountain Lake Electric, its contractor, has worked as quickly as possible to try to get that resolved. Obviously, there are certain things as it relates to Penelec that are outside of the commissioner's control. But for the things that we can control and the contractors that we do have control over, those individuals, and I want to give a big shout out to Mountain Lake Electric for the work that they've done to try to bring it up. So that has been moving along as quickly as possible, and obviously not ideal circumstances, and we're sad that the Bradford County Library had to be closed for 2 weeks. But as you can imagine, you can't have the public in a location that is dark. There's obviously safety issues, not only for our staff, but also for our visitors. It's hard to run electronic systems for checking in and checking out books if you don't have a computer that's functional on site. So I just want to again thank Mountain Lake Electric and the understanding of the public. I know it's not been ideal, but just want to have everybody rest assured they were moving as fast as they could, and the commissioners were moving with our county staff as fast as we can to get this to where it is, and we're glad to be able to report that hopefully this afternoon we will have power back on, and hopefully business as usual will resume.
So, Zachary, I don't know if you reported this, but what made it more difficult, it was underground with the problem.
Right, the underground wires needed to be re-pulled. In other words, replaced.
Mm-hmm. Right, so there were some of those complications that obviously made it a little more of a challenge for Mountain Lake Electric, but they did do a very good job.
All right, pressing inquiries, James.
I was wondering about, are you, as far as the cuts that you've made to the budget for, because I think that's what Doug McClinko said you've done. Are you no longer going to fund the administrator of the Bradford County Library System?
That was a 3-year grant that we gave to the library systems to help them facilitate hiring a full-time systems administrator. That was when we entered into that agreement with the library systems. We entered into it with a 3-year promise of supporting that, and it's been long past the 3 years, and we have got to look at every avenue we can to save whatever tax dollars we can. And I'm going to elaborate just a little bit more on the this year's budget. Contrary to what you hear and what you may understand about it, the budget, almost the majority of the budget is almost, it's not discretionary spending, it's mandated spending. We have, most of our budget provides mandated services that we have to provide. Courts and corrections being one of them. Most of our human services budget are mandated services. So what drives the increase in costs are driven through the increased utilization of those services. Those, we'd have no real choice in that. The discretionary parts of our budget are really very small. And that's why with this budget impasse and the federal government budget shutdown, that's what really critically hurts counties, not just ours, but every county across the Commonwealth, because they have to continue to provide those services whether they receive any money or not.
James, so if I may, right, so you'll see, it'll go out on the table, you'll see what the proposal is for every department's line items, and you'll be able to see what the proposed allocation is, again, proposed, right? So there is an opportunity for the public to provide input. There's an opportunity for any one of these 3 commissioners to propose an amendment, understanding up to a certain point, because once you go beyond a certain point of a proposed increase or a proposed change, you would then have to re-advertise. So there's a window of a certain amount of the number that there could be a proposed change, and if a majority of the board voted for it, we could do that. So again, you put a best guess on the table, and then from there, discussions happen, and we need, in a meeting like this, we can make proposal for amendments. Doesn't mean they're going to be adopted or not, but that goes for any line item. And so that's the process by which changes can be proposed, and again, if a majority approves it, made to then the big budget, which then gets voted on December 11th.
So there's, go ahead. Is that basically there is no systems administrator under this budget? Because that's a county employee,
That's
right?
a systems issue. That's something the systems can decide for themselves. It's an independent entity.
Do you know, like, how much of the system administrator's salary was paid through this grant, which I think was the only county support?
$30,000.
Well, there's a certain amount of money in prior years that would come from state aid to support, and then a certain amount, I believe, that came from our operation.
$30,000 from the county.
$30,000 from the operational funds of the county. So there's that kind of in the aggregate is what then the board of the library systems uses to determine whether or not to utilize those funds for an administrator. And understand that the county's role, we administer payroll, we administer the benefits, but the decisions as to whether or not there is an administrator is within the unique purview of the library system's board of directors.
Okay. So the $30,000 did you when the grant came through? I don't know if it was a.
It was the county granted the $30,000 for 3 years.
Oh, okay. So, do you know how much more of the system administrator's salary came from outside of that grant?
I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head how
Or was
much.
that the complete, do you know if it was the complete salary?
No,
It was not.
no. It was probably half or less than half.
Okay, that was the grant, the 30,000.
Yeah.
Can you talk about has the budget of the Bradford County Library itself, has that changed under the proposed county budget?
It's increased by about $6,000 or $7,000 from last year.
Okay.
The new electronic sign down there.
And yeah, and there's aside from that, we've allocated, I believe, $40,000 out of Act 13 funds to replace the sign out front and replace it with an electronic sign. But that's from Act 13 monies.
Right, so again, this is all in the proposal, right?
Okay. And what other cuts were there to the budget?
We're looking at, it's not a cut that has occurred yet, but we're looking at re-looking at the health care provided over at the correctional facility.
In other words, to get a new medical provider.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other cuts to the?
Nothing, just small incremental savings here or there that the fiscal department is able to find through department to department. And like I say, our departments and all the elected officials, I will tell you, they run very, very, very tight budgets. There's not a lot of fluff in any of them.
Yeah, it was, oh my God. It was all uncontrollable expenses, things that we can't control. And that's where, inflation just, between that and the budget that passed the state, is a real problem. But the medical, we can potentially save hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we're still working on that.
To give you just some idea, since the last tax increase, whatever, from 2009 to now, the cost of living increase, if you look at what the Social Security bases their cost of living increases on, has increased almost 40% in that number of years. And we have not passed along any increases up until this year in increased taxes. That's almost unheard of. But it's because of the work that all of our department heads, all of our elected officials do to keep the costs of operation as low as they possibly can and still provide the services that we provide to the county, to the citizens of this county.
And I would also add that when we look at it, there were in the intervening between 2009 and 2025, in that 14 to 15 year period, there were events where you had infusions of large sums of money. So you had, for example, larger Act 13 funds annually than what we currently receive. You had ARP ESSER money, so COVID relief money, but again, that had a sunset, I believe, in 2023. And so you couple the loss of those, or a reduction of those funds, with, as Commissioner Miller has identified, the increased cost, healthcare being a large component of that. There was, what was it last year, was 11.3 or 11.5. This year was 12.1%.
The cost increase in health insurance?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's things that you can do. So for example, we at the county could say, okay, maybe we offer a different health plan to try to bring that down for the employees, whether that's moving from a PPO to like an HSA, HDHP plan, et cetera. But the issue is you have to budget, and I would remind everybody, you have to budget not for the best case scenario. We have an obligation to budget for the worst case scenario. And you hope for the best, but if you just go kind of pie in the sky and say, we'll whistle past the graveyard and there's no problems, and we're going to assume that everything works out hunky-dory, then when there's a shortfall, that's a major problem. So you have to budget conservatively, and you hope that, for example, that there will be an ability to not have to tap into your reserve funds, to not have to have the costs that you anticipate, but we would be doing a disservice to the county if we did not budget for that worst case scenario. I don't know how the other commissioners feel, but that has always been my guiding principle.
Well, I was talking to a commissioner from Archer County this morning, and they're unfortunately going to have to increase taxes, and they're still taking money basically from their savings. You know, we have not wanted to do this for a while because of the high inflation, and people are are really hurting. So we take this serious. You know, I'd also like to thank Dan Thorpe. You know, I know the other two guys do the same thing, but I run two departments in my head all weekend long. I'll call up Dan, and he'll make my calls on the weekends and go over things. But it's been no fun.
Do you have any questions?
So just to be sure, you're saying as far as the funding for the administrator of the Bradford County Library System, that's been zeroed out. You're not
In the budget, yes.
Okay.
In the preliminary budget.
And then also, can you explain, like, somebody said that the state budget impasse as well as the federal budget impasse contributed to the tax increase?
It absolutely was a contributing factor, because what we had to do is we had to draw down our reserves down to a very, very, let's put it this way, very uncomfortable level. And because of that, those reserves were not drawing interest, which they would have been otherwise, which adds to the cost of doing business. A lot of counties had to borrow money or had to lay off staff. We thankfully didn't have to do either of those two. Because the budget's passed, hopefully the monies will start flowing again, where we will hopefully start receiving the funds. If I'm not mistaken, Children Youth Services, we are standing right now at about a $6 million deficit that we're owed from the state for Children Youth Services right now.
And I really want to emphasize what Commissioner Miller has said. So understand that just because a budget passes doesn't mean there's a magical faucet that our treasurer sees, $1.1 million hit today or $6 million hit today. So all of that time until we get paid and paid in full, we have the carrying costs, and we also have the law, as was indicated, the lost ability to obtain interest on any funds that are in an account until they're spent. So it's a double whammy. And again, we have to deal with both state government and federal government. And, I don't want to put all the blame on state and federal, but, it does contribute to this. And go ahead, Commissioner McClinko.
I'm sorry, Zachary, but you got, I think it's about $7 million they owe us. We only collect $10 million in property taxes. Do the math. $7 million they owe us. We collect $10 million. Hell, the jail costs us $6 million a year. Add it all up, it's terrible. So yeah, I don't fault the federal government nearly as much as I do the state government. This has been completely ridiculous. It's just been terrible. And I know other counties around the state are having the same conversations.
James.
Can you say, what is the humidity issue at the Domestic Relations Office?
It's just because of the heating and cooling system over there, and there's some humidity issues that have been noticed that we've got to try to address.
Does it become like too humid?
That's one of the issues, yes.
And do you have any information on what some of these programs are that the Endless Mountains Mission Center wants to establish, like a street outreach program or short-term emergency center or rapid rehousing and homelessness?
I think your probably best bet is to speak to Mrs. Storrs about that.
Yep.
And then do you Do you happen to know how much Burlington Township is applying for as far as a local share grant for that new
I
municipal?
don't know, do you have the number on that?
I would imagine that the supervisors, Mr. Gore, may have some information on that.
Just call a township supervisor.
Correct, or Lana Bly, their township secretary. may have
Doesn't have them
information.
out? Yeah, just reach out to them.
Okay, and also Keith Stackhouse, he's been hired as a
It's just temporary fill-in, yes. He worked there before.
This doesn't have to do with Ryan Farr, because he's your emergency manager.
No, he's just helping facilitate because there's a PEMA certification that takes place right after the first of the year for Brian Farr. And Keith is just filling in, helping to facilitate some of the planning for that to get organized.
Okay.
Hey, Daryl.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump off. I'm
All right.
sitting for pharmacy. I gotta go get some medicine.
All right.
Okay, guys, talk to you later.
All right. Sounds
Okay,
good.
hope you get better. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
That's everything.
Kevin?
Is Mr. McLingo sick?
Yes.
Okay.
Like I am, but I don't sound quite that bad, so thank you.
So Chris Furman, which office is he with?
Gabriel Farah.
Gabriel Farah. Okay.
Yep.
And that's F-U-R man?
F-U-R-M-A-N, I believe,
Correct.
yes.
Okay. The agreement between Bradford County and Train US, is that the humidity
Yes,
issue?
correct.
Okay. And where is the budget available for public
It
review?
will be on the desk and it will be online.
Okay, it will be online.
Yep.
That's all.
All right. Thank you. Motion
I
to
have some
adjourn.
press questions.
So moved.
All right. We're adjourned. Thank you.